Hello and welcome to Man's Model Moments, Midweek Model Meet, and it's unboxing. It's the beginning of the month, so welcome everybody. Hopefully all these stupid little chroma aberrations will disappear. It depends where I sit on how they come. It's very, very annoying. Let me just see. Every single time it's set up properly, and then dear, that's getting worse. That's getting better. Let's leave it at that. Anyway, welcome everybody, and thanks to everybody who watched the Tuesday talk yesterday. Good news and bad news, obviously. But let me just have a little look at chat because started on time. So we've got Simon's Modelling Shed, we've got Adrian, we've got Julian Hall, we've got Stuart, we've got Howard Kendrick, we've got Paul Dye, we've got Richard Trinder, we have Drew. We've got the enigmatically titled, because I can only see the YouTube title, AJB2K3. That sounds like a Star Wars designation for a droid. Welcome. And that brings us up to present. So, welcome everybody. So we have, there's a whole load more stuff just came up. Tiger Stein, David Fairclough. Welcome everybody. We've got unboxings to go through. We had the vote on from yesterday, and we got some very positive results actually. A lot of love being shown for the Super Constellation. So let me just have a little look here on the points, and just get this up and get you across to the other screen. So these are the points. A very, very strong showing for the Constellation. A lot of love being shown for that kit. We have the border model Luke's in second place, and clear water between them. And the Constellation, obviously a new entry this week, or this month. There's 2 weeks because we did an interim unboxing. Obviously the Luke's was very high on that, but didn't quite make it into the stream because we had two big 30-second scale kits to look at. And then we've got, again, clear blue water then for the Little Bird. And then we have the Sea Vampire and Spiteful drawn. So we'll see where we get. And then obviously a whole bunch of stuff very close, all tied. And then into other bits. So that is that. So yeah, a lot of love being shown for the Super Constellation. I mean, the Constellation is a lovely aircraft. It's a very elegant looking aircraft, and of course this is the 100th anniversary of Lufthansa edition from Revell. So I'll get that ready there. As always, guys, if you have questions or comments, please put question or comment in capital letters or QQQ or CCC, all in capitals. Just helps me pick stuff out from the chat, because once we've got a lot of people in and getting into the discussion, it's sometimes quite difficult to follow. A few more people have popped in, always good to see. We've got Scale Model Apprentice, we've got World War II Scale Models Dave, we have Steve NC, and a bunch of letters, a bunch of numbers, sorry. Welcome to all of you. Let me put you across onto, well actually, let me put you across onto the screen. And let's get rid of that. So this is the kit we're looking at. It is the Super Constellation L1049G in 1/144 4 scale. This was actually a 2006 tooling, so it's not that old, 20 years. Last appeared 16 years ago, and obviously this is in special livery. So we've got this particular one, which is the normal boxing, and then there is a model set as well. Revell model sets I'm kind of on the fence about. I think their paints are better than Humbrol's. I think their glue is excellent because they use the little precision applicator glue, which is great. But their paintbrush is worthless. It is the worst paintbrush ever. So it's a little bit odd for me. But this is the box. It's quite nice. I think it's quite a striking, fairly plain but quite striking box, with the box art being actually a made up, as in completed model rather than fantasy. And as always with Revell, they use the whole box in terms of putting information and stuff. So you've got more pictures here, descriptions, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Now, oh, it's already, I must have done this previously, although I've only done the one, so until I've not looked in this, because I didn't realise there were 3 seals on this. These are, of course, or this is, the new Revell flip top opening box, which actually, this card is quite heavy gauge card, which I'm surprised at. And then we have the kit, all in one bag, the instructions, and decals, and the obligatory safety thing we can throw away. So there we go. Let's pull all of that out of the box and have a little look. Right, I'm going to rotate this light down so we get a little bit more light. And let's do a bit of light there. So it's a level 4 kit. These are meaningless. So both Revell and Airfix do this. I don't see any value in this, especially as all the Revell model kits start at level 2. So they don't really relate to how difficult kits are to put together, which then makes it pointless, right? Volume is low, low, low. Well, my volume is no different than normal. So I can see on my audio mixer the microphone is turned up to maximum. I am well in the green, so unless anybody else is seeing the same problem, I suggest it might be you. Not saying it's you, but I'm just merely suggesting it might be. So, guys, let me know if the volume is not. Let me just adjust the angle of the microphone, but yeah, I think it's you, Robert. You might need to do something with your YouTube stream. So, as usual, we got the normal pictorial bits, all of the explanations of symbols, which goes on for quite a long time, an explanation of how to mix, and then various different colours, including, of course, Revell's mixing thing. Some people object to this. I actually think it's a good thing, but you pay your money and you take your choice. Then we have sprue frame layouts, which is good, although these are a little small, but That's not too bad. And then we're into the instructions. Now, this is a 1/144 scale kit, so I don't expect to see extensive internal detail and things. I'm surprised, actually, that it has any. This is probably more than the 1/72 scale Hella kit has, so not bad, actually. You're not going to see any of it through the windows anyway. So fairly basic. Pops into the wheel, front wheel well, and then just goes in 2 halves of the fuselage with transparency pieces. So all looks pretty easy, as you would probably expect in a 1/144 scale kit. Landing gear. You can put landing gear up or down, which is good to see. And various little bits here. Not quite sure what that means, but. And then we have the livery. It looks like you do get 2 options. They are both obviously Lufthansa, or is that one option? No, I think it's one option, just showing all of the sides. So you've got right side, top, left side, bottom. So it's just a single scheme. Again, it's kind of to be expected because this is the Lufthansa 100 years anniversary release. So, and it looks a pretty nice livery. I think that can be seen from the main image. It's a pretty aircraft anyway, and this is quite a nice livery. It's quite striking, the Lufthansa livery, I think. So, this all looks good. Let's just take a little look at the decals, because these look really nice. They're very, very colour dense. The register is perfect. You've got all of the individual tail pieces. Big Lufthansa and the big long stripe. The only thing I would say is sometimes aligning these very big pieces, especially when they go on the nose where you've got curves. I don't mean just curves here, I mean the curve around the fuselage, can be a little difficult to align. I prefer if they were actually separated at some point so you can use them in sections, but it is what it is, because you know they've got them for the end here and some little pieces there, so might be a little bit tricky, but I guess we'll just have to see how that goes. But these look very, very nice. Some tiny little ones here. Got a tiny one here for the instrument panel, which is, I think it's ambitious if you're going to be looking at the instrument panel through the transparency on a Connie. But that looks nice. We'll get the super macro on that a little bit. In a little bit, I should say. And then we have the contents of the box itself. Now, this is pretty reasonable. This is £20 I sell it for, so it's like £21.95 or £21.99 normally. £20, consider that's the price of an Airfix starter kit F-35. I think this is pretty good. Okay, we have some pieces here. I don't know what they are, whether these are excess or whether they're needed, but they're there. Oh wow, okay. Hazards of bagging in one bag, right? That is, wow. I don't know what's happened to that for it to fracture there, but it's fractured in 2 places. Look, that's, I can't see that being in transport, because if that was in transport, surely that would have done some fairly horrible things. Interesting. But I think the important thing is it doesn't look like it's damaged anything here. So, two-piece fuselage. Big lip of flash on this port side here. And it should be fairly easy to take off, but I'm surprised to see that, because this is, as I say, it's not that old a kit, 2006. You do have engraved panel lines all across here, which is quite nice. And the actual casting itself is pretty crisp. Again, you've got flash here at the front. I mean, this doesn't bother me. This is more annoying. I'm just staggered by that. That's, I've never seen that before. But that looks pretty nice. Just pop that to one side a second. Have a look at the wings. Oh, these are very nice. You've got really nice detail on these. I mean, obviously it is exaggerated, let's say, but it's pretty delicate. You do have some sink. You can see that here. Some sink on these back pieces, which is unfortunate. And that's coming because these are actually quite thick, these pieces here. And obviously moulding that all in one, it's not been able to fill that and cool sufficiently to not have that sink. So the bottom is beautiful. You've got lots of engraved detail here for all of the hatches and refilling ports and all kinds of bits. That's very nice. It's a shame they didn't do these pieces a little differently. That's disappointing, that, because so far it looks very nice otherwise. Okay, oh, quite a lot of flash on the actual runners here on this. And then we have some odd texture here. That is also sink. Can you see that? There's definite sink on these pieces. I don't think it's meant to be there. Yeah. So these horizontal surfaces on both the wings, the upper wings, and these horizontal tailplanes do have some sink in them, which is a shame because you've got quite nice detail there. But obviously you have the two vertical stabilizers in addition to the central one, obviously. Props look good. Tiny bit of flash on this one, but nothing to write home about. Wheels look good. Some of these smaller pieces look quite nice. Unfortunately this, which I'm guessing is one of the pieces for the undercarriage, the front undercarriage maybe? I'm not sure. There's quite a lot of flash on it. There is quite a lot of flash on this piece in general. The only actual pieces it affects are this, although it's an exhaust port or pitot tube or something, I don't know. It was one of those that was shown on the underside of trimming one. I don't know what they are. They must be some sort of exhaust ducts, I think. That and this piece are affected. Ironically, these little pieces are not. The sprue around it has a lot, but none actually there. You also have, oh no, tiny pieces there. Let's have a look at the sprue frame layouts. Right, okay. I was just wondering because obviously I have these 4 pieces here and I saw these 4 and I thought, are those actually the pieces or were they attached to something? No, these are the pieces. These are very, very fine. Very small, fine pieces. See how small that is. I'm not sure what they are, but they are these pieces. They are very fine. And they don't have flash on. Go figure. Right, and then we have one last main frame before we get to the transparencies. This one is detached here. It's engine cowling. It's a little bit of flash on here. Oh, and then you have the radial engines, which aren't bad actually for the scale. There's some nice little detail on those. Some tiny, oh, I think these actually are the ones underneath. Those ones that the instructions was referring to. I said I didn't know what they were. So I think all of these pieces are just bits of excess sprue. It's just odd that we got 4 of them. I don't see anywhere that they could have broken off. They almost look like they are for the props. I'm not going to throw them away because I don't know what they are or why they are. But this all looks pretty good. These will require a little bit of cleaning up, but there's nothing massive there. So yeah, overall, the most disappointing bits are the sink in this wing, these upper wing sections, and these horizontal stabilizers. Now I wonder which way they go and whether you could get away with ignoring it if it's on the underside. Question mark. But pretty basic, as you can see. I think this is going to be quite a nice little build. Not really for beginners, I would say, because there are some very small fiddly pieces here, especially things like these. Sorry, got that in the way. But I think for somebody who's got a few models under their belt, this would be quite a nice little kit, and a decent size. You know, the Connie is Super Constellation, I should say. It's a fairly sizable aircraft. You know, slim, but fairly substantial. Looks like it's got stubby wings, doesn't it, compared to the fuselage. The fuselage is so long. I mean, it is literally, the wings are less than half of the fuselage length. That's quite something. Right, where have I put my super macro? Maybe I won't be able to give you super macro views because I'm not sure. It is here. Might have to come back to that, folks. Robert, if you are finding the adverts are really loud, you might want to look at if stable volume is on your system. YouTube has it on by default. It's in settings, the little 3 dots on your stream. there are various things there that you can set to stop YouTube making everything weird. Right, let's make sure I get these little pieces in just in case I need them. Easier said than done. Come on. There. Right, I will come back to that if I can find my macro lens. It's normally right here. I don't know why it's not, because I think those are worth taking a look at in close-up. But let's just go back to comments and questions. Just have a little look. Okay, people talking about volume. Okay. Okay. So there we go. The Connie. It is a lovely aircraft. I'm surprised about the level of sync in it. I mean, the flash is also a little surprising. It's only 20 years old, which isn't old by mold standards. And yeah, don't know. The decals look really nice. The scheme is lovely. So £20. It's not bad. I think that's one of those. If you like the subject, or if you want to doing something different, I think it's probably worth a look. But it's not one of those that I would say is an immediate auto buy. You know, it's just like, oh yeah, this is fantastic value. Go and get this now. It's good. I think it's right on the cusp. I think it's well priced for what it is. They're not trying to ask too much for it. But it's got a couple of points in there that you think, not too sure. But it'll be. I mean, 1144 scale for this is a good scale. It's like I say, I have the Hella 1/72 scale one, and it is huge. So if you're limited on space, this is definitely I want to go for. Also, the Hella one is quite expensive, and is a lot older in terms of tooling, and is it's an interesting. It's like a vintage classic. Oh my God, what's happening with the tech tonight? Right. Let's have a little look at what's next. It is, of course, the Luke's. This probably won't come out very well because there's quite a bit of green in it. Oh no, it works fine. There we go. So this is the border model Panzerkampfwagen 2 Alfs L Luke's, which is a lovely little tank. Got some very pretty subjects tonight. The Connie, the Luke's, both cute. Well, I'd say the Connie's elegant. The Luke's is cute. Let's get... Oh, Dutch Dave is in. Good evening, Dave. Let's put you onto the screen so you can see. Here is the beast. This is the late production version. They were all pretty late, obviously, because they were late war. It's only a little beast, the Luke's. A great reconnaissance tank that kind of really came into its own at the end. Way, way too late, obviously. Thankfully for us. Top opening box. This one has been through the wars a little bit. This one came from chap who I got basically his entire collection of models, basically a stock for the shop. He had a couple of these, so I purloined one which had a bit of a beaten up box for myself, because it's always a tank that I've wanted to do, never had a decent model kit of it. So you can see it's got quite a bit of stuff like the barrel and a bit of photo etch and things. We'll get into that in a second. 3 versions which all look pretty much the same. Let's have a look what's in the box. So first of all we have the border model instructions, which look very nice, as border model instructions do. They are probably valueless. From my experience with border model instructions, the person who wrote these instructions will never have seen the kit, and it's just all pure conjecture. So take these with a pinch of salt. Border are notoriously poor at instructions, so anything it says in here I would check at least twice before committing any cement to it. After my experience with the Kate, where it actively instructs you incorrectly, I don't trust border at all. So I mean the build sequence is logical. Whether the individual steps are correct is anybody's business. And then at the end we get the better bit, which are these beautiful colour camouflage renditions. Knocking things over with the instructions there. All keyed to MiG ammo. Not that really makes any difference. It's a very common German late war scheme, colour scheme it is. So it looks like you've got 3 potential vehicles. Let's have a little look at the plastic. So we've got paired frames in bags, which is my oh no, that one's a separate one. That one's separate. Okay, so they're only paired where it makes sense. Okay, so you actually have 4 individual frames, and then 2, which is basically the hull and the turret pieces, paired with another frame with some other components of the hull, which all makes sense. And then you have these pieces, which are interesting. I'm not quite sure. They look like stowage items. I don't know whether those are extra, but they're from this kit. Never quite tell when you got something off somebody else. And then, oops, we have some etched brass. Some very nice etch for the grills. And then the aerial, some brackets, and some other pieces here. So all that looks good. Let's get some of these bags open and have a look what's inside them. Oh, actually, I tell a lie. That's 3 frames, but these 2 frames just contain the main hull monocoque, which looks like it's been slide molded. And this is what you're paying for with Border, is not the instructions. You're paying for how they make these things, which is pretty exceptionally good. So this is a slide molded, well, pretty much monocoque hull, We've got some quite nice riveting detail around these suspension areas where the wheels come out. Positive locating pieces all the way through. Got some locating stuff, I presume, on the inside, and underneath you've got some really nice additional pieces with, again, bolted plates basically. Not escape hatches, because there's no way that somebody other than a 3-year-old child is getting through that. Luke's was not big to begin with, and that is tiny. And then we have this, which is the turret ring and 2 hatches, and the actual turret as well, which are pretty small. I mean, let's see, we've got here, that's a Stug 3, which is not exactly a big vehicle by itself. Pretty average medium tank. I mean, just look at the width of that hull compared to Luke's. In fact, let's put it corner to corner. That's it's about a third less in both dimensions. So it gives you an idea of just how tight this thing was. But you've got some absolutely beautiful casting, moulding, whatever you want to call it, on these pieces. Really, really nice. In fact, I think I've got a Tamiya Panzer II here somewhere. Might be able to dig out for comparison at some point. Some interesting moulding here. So obviously this is the rear of the tank, and look at the way this has been moulded. It's really interesting how you got the louvers moulded onto the rear here, and again, really complex piece. That must have been slide moulded as well, surely. The front drive sprocket supports here. A real selection actually of pieces from the hull. Spare track. You've got some stowage here. 2 really fine, delicate pieces. These hooks. I presume these are width indicators, maybe something like that. But I mean, you can just tell actually from how delicate this handle is for the shovel. Oh, actually, you've got handles for fuel canisters there. Very nice. Really crisp. No trace of flash on this. I mean, this is a very new tooling. And that looks superb. I mean, even the aerial mast here, that is very good. And not a single thing broken. What have I done with the box? There we go. I put a Panzer III box on it, that's why. Okay, let's get another slightly more interesting frame. So, lots of structural pieces here. We've got all kinds of bits. And again, you know, we've gone from like side skirt pieces here, pieces of the actual hull, the lower turret, through to, I mean, these are absolutely minuscule, these pieces here. Tiny. They're like a couple of millimeters long, perhaps. That's the coaxial machine gun, I think. It's very nice. I'm always impressed when you can see a variety of different types of moulding all on the same frame. Because obviously plastic has different flow rates through big channels like this than it does into small little channels. So the engineering and the science, the sort of fluid dynamic science behind this, behind the design of these, is really something to get it right and to get, you know, consistent casting like this. You got this lovely, I don't know if you can see that there, it almost looks like a saw blade, the way that this is scalloped across here. Very, very nice. Some sort of pulleys. I don't know, does this have an engine? I mean, obviously the wheel thing has an engine, I just don't know whether this has an engine. But that is looking absolutely superb. I mean, just look how well these tools are cast stroke molded. You know what I mean. Really, really fine ends to these like grips, nippers, whatever they are. That's beautiful. But it's so tiny, this little ring. All right, now on to more of a fiddly bits frame. Oh, caught on there. There we go. Right. Again, just look at how small some of these are all pieces. Right, they're not just like broken stubs or something. These all actually have pieces at the end of them. God only knows what they are. Latches or something. You can see how fine the grab handles are on this kit. Again, we've got some ventilation louvers here. These spare track pieces as well are beautiful. All of the parts for the turret front and elevation mechanism, that looks good. I mean, again, there isn't a single piece of flash or anything. I think that is the main 20mm gun as well. It looks absolutely beautiful, the way that this has been made. I can't fault it at all. It really is excellent. If Border's instructions lived up to the quality of their tooling, they would be right up there with Takom. I think Takom and Border have probably made the most advancements in the past couple of years, but I think Takom's instructions are better. They're not perfect by any means, but Border, I think, is... They're almost just aspirational. Right, now we have two of these frames, frame A. Sorry if I keep knocking the microphone. So this is link and length track. So here we've got the main lengths, which aren't very big. That's about the size of a 1/72nd scale track for an MBT. Then the short links, and then all of the individual ones for going around the sprockets and the idler wheel. Speaking of sprocket, that is absolutely phenomenal. I wish I could find my macro lens. I'll have a proper look for it in a second. But if you can see the detail, the sort of bolts that are on this, and how well these sprockets, each of these gear pieces are cast there, or molded into that, is absolutely beautiful. I also really like these single piece metal wheels which have this fluting on, so that they could, simplify production. And it's a way of, it's a bit like corrugation, it's a way of strengthening a single piece of metal, is to obviously have these sort of deformations in it. I presume these were cast, but they were cast out of a thinner metal and with these flutings on, so that they could save weight and keep the strength and materials, of course. But they're done really well. And then the standard wheels, again, they're just flawless. It's a beautiful looking kit. Even things like these, I presume they're fuel rather than water. Yeah, fuel, because of the diagonal crosses, right? They've actually got molded in text onto the actual containers themselves, which is just phenomenal. You've also got these wooden boxes which appear to have wood texture on them. It just looks really, really nice. The thinnest torsion bar suspension you are likely to see in a model kit of 1/35th scale, I think. Oh, and you've also got, look at this little sort of cage here that's been slide molded. You can usually tell a slide mold because they have these runners which have arches on, which is for this slide to come in, the slide piece of the mold to come in to be able to form these parts. And look at that, a single piece cage in polystyrene. That is very nice, because we've all had these sort of 2 or 3 part ones where you're trying to line up like the pieces, and either you have to have alignment tabs which make them unrealistically thick, or you're butt joining stuff and you've got to get it exactly right, and if you don't, it kind of looks a bit naff. So this is great. So yeah, this looks absolutely great. I'm just trying to see if I've just sort of shoved the macro lens off to one side. I was doing some work here, and I may have just carelessly pushed it across. We do have an FX Robin waiting to be painted. And some Underberg, just like an alcoholic German tonic thing. The strange things I have on my bench. What I don't seem to have is super glue. some AK green mossy texture. I've got my but no. I'll go away. Total AV. But no macro lens. Some dry mud. Dear. That's very disappointing, Alex. You can't find that. But I mean, the overall quality on this is absolutely astonishingly good. Let's move that piece. Maybe it's. Oh no, but I have found one of my batteries. That's good. Pop that in my pocket to take to the shop tomorrow. But no. Haha! Under parts waiting to be painted. Macro lens. Super macro vision shall commence very shortly. Let me drag out those Connie decals. You can have a look at these. So here we go. So these are the Connie decals, very nicely produced. I mean, nice and sharp. I think that was just a tiny little piece of dirt. Bear in mind, oh, sorry, you can't see anything when that thing's on. But bear in mind, this decal here is less than the width of my fingertip, right? So, considering how small that is, these are very sharp. Really nice. What I really want to show you though are some of these pieces. Oh, knocking the camera. Look at that. We actually have different colours on that dashboard. Now, again, just let me remind you, that is the dashboard. That is absolutely tiny. Again, just to give you, sorry, that's really wobbling. Just to give you an idea. So it is half the length of my scalpel blade. That's about a centimetre and about a centimetre and a half. Being generous. And yet within that we've got a little control panel. I mean, you cannot see it really with the naked eye. These are the main stripes along. So yeah, these are really nice. Oh, actually, let's just have a look at some of these. Got some really tiny things. Look at that, super constellation. I mean, you can pretty much read those. Sorry that they're upside down, but I can't put them the other way because there isn't room. And again, just to give you an idea, those super constellations are these pieces here. Absolutely tiny. So really nice quality decals. I'm wondering actually, there's some text in between those windows. I wonder if we can read it. Oh yeah, there we go. Emergency exit window. I mean, that is... Somebody's put a lot of care and attention into creating those. That's impressive. Right, back to the links. And I want to get you a view on some of these components. Here is that. There we go, you can see what I'm talking about there. I mean, it's even more detailed than I thought. It's actually representing the crown nuts on that sprocket. That is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Oops, sorry. These are the fuel containers. I'm struggling because the support gets in the way. Can I move that at all? I don't think I can get rid of it. You get the impression though, right? Just look at some of the track links. They look pretty good. Look at that. You can see my thumbnail there, where I've got paint in the, in the fingerprint. So it gives you an idea of scale on these. What was I going to show you? Let me show you that little cage. There's that slide molded cage. Very impressive. I mean, if you look at the sprue there, you can see the machining marks. That's kind of how small we're going in terms of what you're able to see here as part of the rear deck. Sorry, that's slightly out of focus because I've got it at an angle. Because of the way this support works. I might have to just try and see if I can perhaps change that. See what else I can show you. These are some of those tiny, tiny pieces I was talking about. They are individual nuts. That's insane. And those look like engine cover latches. You can tell how small they are because that is the identification number on the frame. That is how thick the frame is, so you get an idea of how small those parts are. These are normal size small parts. So just absolutely astonishing, some of the lengths they've gone to. There's a grab handles. I mean, just look at that. And again, that's how big they are. You can't even see them. They're about 0.5 millimetre in diameter, those nuts I just showed you. Astonishing. And they're castle nuts as well. They've actually represented. I mean, who is seeing that? Who has vision good enough to see to see that without the aid of like a macro lens like this? I'm going to show you this louvered piece here under macro. So this is a really complex part, right? So these are the louvers at the back. So unfortunately, every tiny motion I make is massively exaggerated. So they're angled. You've got some nice cast texture on this plastic as well. Very, very nice. I'll show you the bottom of the hole. That should be easy to show you. Yeah, some of these pieces. I mean, you can tell these are nuts, right? They're not just little blobs. Just astonishing the level of detail that they've managed to represent here. That is really phenomenal. So this is very impressive. Right, let's just have a look at. Why do I appear so red? I don't know what's happening to my settings tonight. Let me just have a little look at. I'm just scrolling back. Robert's still having a problem with his volume. Craig has the Border Focke-Wulf 190. Is that 48 scale? Or is that 35th? I think it's one of the 35th, right? Tom says, I've never bought or built a Borders kit. I have heard and read lots of criticisms as regard the poor quality of their instructions, but the standard of their moulding looks amazing. Yeah, I think that holds true. Because, I mean, the time and effort and work, just sheer engineering that's gone into that tooling to create, you know, this is how big it is, right? And for example, the nuts on, I'm not even sure you can see it, this little round piece here, right? Those are the ones that you could tell were nuts. They're proper hexagonal nuts. Crazy. Oh, John Alec is in. Good evening, John. Underberg, is that like Thunderbird? No, it really isn't. It's good for colds. That's all I can say. How on earth do you hold those parts to clean them up? Answers on a postcard. You could always rent the Hubble telescope for a few hours. Oh, it is 135th, yeah. Question, is there a decal sheet with the Lukes? Oh, that is a good question. There is, I'm sure. quite where, I'm not sure. The answer is yes, I just don't know where it is. Oh, I haven't. Where is the box? How did a second ago? Here we go. So yes, the other piece that we have not yet looked at, of course, are photo etch pieces. If it wasn't fiddly enough for you, you're thinking, yeah, those bits are tiny, but I need something a bit more challenging. Well, oh, hello, hello. Okay, I'm going to put you over to the other screen because I don't know what's going on with that focus. There's some ghosts in the machine tonight, people. So, these are all obviously in a bag, but they also have plastic film over them to support them. And these look pretty tremendous, I must say, in terms of photo etch quality. I mean, how fine that grill is beautiful. Really, really nice. It's actually very ergonomic as well. It's quite ASMR. That all looks really good. And, of course, as you mentioned, just take this out of the way because they're reflecting quite a lot. Decal sheet. It's not much. You have some numbers and you have some crosses. That's it. That is about as basic as sheets go. I mean, of course, there aren't a lot of markings, especially on late war German vehicles, because they just wanted to get the things out, obviously. But that is minimalistic. But yeah, there we go. Little deco sheet. Let me just put the macro on, just so you can see. So, in terms of the photo etch, that is that grill. I mean, that isn't just like flat cross grill. That looks like wire. It looks like a mesh grill. That is some of the best photo etch I think I've ever seen. And you've also got all of the drill mounts around the edge. So it's not just the quality of the injection molded components. That photo etch is staggeringly good. All that piece is sort of like a tread plate. You actually got positive pieces on there. Oh look, and those must be hinges perhaps, with again nuts on. So really, really good quality photo etch. Again, these are staggering. The wire mesh effect on that is the best I've ever seen, bar none. But it's still the devil's metal. It's still evil stuff. But I mean, wow, that mesh is something else. It really is. That's impressive. The deco sheet, not so much. Julian says use a loop of masking tape for small parts. Stick one side to the desk, then stick the part to it so it won't move whilst you work on it. Stuart Scale Models says border models are very Dragon-esque. Great kits, but the instructions are to be desired. Well, I think the main difference, though, between border and Dragon, at least the older Dragon kits, are that border models tend to fit together, whereas the old Dragon stuff was touch and go. In a lot of cases, you ended up ruining the fine detail that was supplied because of the bloody great gaps and forcing pieces together. Oh my god, what is going on tonight? Properties, configure video. I know what it is. It's the auto focus, which always screws up for some reason on this camera. I don't know why, but there we go. There. I'm also very saturated. Like I've got some sort of look like I've been in the sun. I can assure you I haven't been. Craig says, I'm not feeling the love for photo etch from Alex. No, I think photo etch has its places, and to be honest, those grills, chef's kiss. The tiny little like catches and things, not so much. Especially when, I mean, if you can mould individual nuts in 1/35th scale in plastic, what are you doing with photo etch? Come on. Right, well, we are halfway through, and I suggest we crack on. We have the ICM Little Bird, the US Special Forces helicopter. They've also released a version of this month, which is the one with rockets on. So basically this is a militarized version of the civilian helicopter, or vice versa. The civilian one is a civilianized version of the military one. I think it's the other way around though. I think the civilian helicopter existed first, but do let me know if the MH6 was... Well, it wouldn't be the MH, it would be the UH, I think, wouldn't it? I think they put MH for military helicopter. Very American, very, straightforward. I just took the box off there without actually putting it on screen. Sorry, let me go back to the screen. Right. So here it is. Quite a small box, quite trim. This box art is amazing. It looks like a photo just being here. I'm pretty sure it's not, but it's photorealistic. It's very, very good box art. MH6J Little Bird, 1/48 scale. Again, I've talked a lot about helicopters on this channel over the past couple of years, which I really never intended, not being a helicopter modeler natively. Typical ICM box, once you've got the nice, glossy, beautifully boxed art sleeve off, you've got the standard, very sturdy card inner. Everything in a single bag, pretty tightly wrapped. The instructions, and then the ubiquitous ICM paint guide. So we'll start off with the instructions. Typical ICM format. I think we all know and love ICM instructions now. Rendition of the box art, description in English and Ukrainian, paint guide, to be taken with a bit of a pinch of salt in my opinion, but the paints are excellent, so all good. This one, as well as most of the modern ones, apologies I've got, this is lacquer paint, it's tends to bind to your skin a bit more. Being a modern ICM kit, it has step-by-step instructions on YouTube. This is one of the best things that I think you can have 4 instructions. It really makes the difference a lot of the time. Decal sheet, fairly subdued because of course it's a special forces helicopter, so they don't really announce themselves very much. Just lots of little, lots of US Army stuff, and numbers is basically what you've got there, as well as a couple of bits for your instrument panel. So other than that, the instructions very much typical ICM frame layouts, clear frame layout. Looks like there are no parts that you don't use, so this is the first rendition of the kit, so that's to be expected. I'm expecting a fairly straightforward, fairly simple build with this because it's quite a small little helicopter, and there's not really a lot of hidden stuff in it because it's all very open. So you get straight into that, building the interior of the cockpit, then putting that into the fuselage, as you might expect. Then looks like you're building essentially the transmission assembly, effectively, including the rotor head, which then goes in, and then you're putting the rear on, sorry, the other side on, got the exhaust. Oh, interestingly, then you put the main panel in. I'm not sure I would do that. I think I might put that in before. Might do some test fitting before I put this in with that. Just my personal preference, but these pedals going in at this stage though is a good idea. I like that, the fact that you can put these in right at the end before you put this on means that you aren't risking breaking them off as you do that. We've got the skids, and wow, tiny handles on the doors. All looks very straightforward. And put the tail on. And then we've got the painting guide, which is going to be fairly basic because they're just black. Although you should never paint them black. Always use dark grey, dark grey. Now, interestingly, I did not see there any masking pieces. Or did I just miss them? It's unusual. ICM usually supply masking templates, and I don't think they have. How odd that they haven't done that. That's the first time I've seen them not do it. Which is a shame because there's quite a lot of canopy to mask in this aircraft. Okay, interesting. Now this is obviously a brand new tool. And again, I just want to say props to ICM. They're not only producing kits, but they are producing brand new toolings. The 1/72nd scale Tahi is out this month as well. That arrived for me today. I'm actually doing an unboxing video on that. I've already recorded that, so watch out for that one. We have got a couple of pieces that have come off the frame here. Although I must say, this kit has been abused a little bit in terms of it. The box has been all over my my workroom. So, okay. So first frame has our helicopter body in. I mean, Little Bird is right. It is a tiny little thing, right? So even in 48 scale, this is going to be about the size of a 1/72nd scale fighter aircraft when complete, because the whole point of this is that it is little. You can, get into places unseen, drop special forces people off. It's a light attack helicopter with rockets on. The version that has that, which is come out this month. So this shouldn't present too much of an issue for, I would say, most modelers. I mean, when we come on to the next frame, you can see there are some very delicate pieces. So the skill in putting this together, like this, for instance, is going to be preserving this tiny detail, much as it was in that border model Luke's. Right, this is what's going to take your time, is being careful with all the little fiddly bits, because the actual main body of the thing, there isn't much there. Right? It's not a big aircraft. Having said that, I mean, the finesse that's being displayed here again is quite astonishing. This tiny little rear stabilization rotor is really delicate. I mean, this looks like a 1/72nd scale. It's so small. But the actual fuselage itself has great detail. You've got, I put my, there we go. You've got engraved detail across here. You've got raised detail on these pieces. You can feel the texture of some of it. If I can probably just hear the back of my scalpel scraping across that. Some really fine detail here. Got some quite good detail as well in the cockpit in terms of the various panels in there. Such delicate rotor blades as well. I mean, that is what, 6-7 millimeters across, but very, very thin. You can just see from that, like, it's flexible. But I can put my scalpel through. You can see how thin the actual blade is. You see that? Very thin. Very fine. Really nicely made. Again, as we've come to expect from ICM. The landing struts, landing skids actually look quite robust. They're quite chunky, which is nice to see. And they've got obviously these cross braces. So I don't think it's going to be a matter of, it's going to collapse on its undercarriage or be too delicate. I think it's going to be quite a robust little bobble of a helicopter when it's done. But some beautifully fine pieces. I mean, and again, props to ICM for the way they design some of these pieces, because you have this, which I think is the vertical stabilizer portion. Might be the horizontal, I'm not sure. But then you've got this little hooked, whatever it is, discharge mount or exhaust or whatever, which is just, it could actually just be a hook of metal. But it's moulded onto this part so that you don't have to try and glue a tiny little thing like that, to the end of a piece. So that would be a pain if you had to do that. I mean, not that there aren't delicate pieces to do here, because there certainly are. But they've thought about some of the pieces like that, about how easy or not easy it's going to be to do it. I mean, these are very, they are pretty much scale thickness, some of these control columns. So you have to take care with these pieces. But I think the actual, I think most of those are going to be inside this cockpit when it's done. I think the two pieces that came off, I think one is that underside piece that slots in afterwards, and we just got a flat blanking plate of something or other. So that all looks very nice. And then the transparency, clear frame, is, well, pretty much perfect. I think ICM and Airfix do some of the best transparent plastic in the industry, and I don't think this is an exception. I mean, these are curved doors, and there is almost no optical distortion, despite the curvature of the plastic. I mean, obviously there is some because it's curved, but that is superb. Really beautiful. I mean, this piece is absolutely stunning. The way this has been moulded is that's a masterclass in making clear pieces. I mean, a single piece for that whole front is fantastic. I mean, by rights, they could have easily split it to make it easier on themselves, either that way or that way, because you have a frame. But no, they've just gone with a single piece, boom. So that's going to make it, you know, nice and easy to put on. Well, I say nice and easy. It's going to make it easier to assemble that than it is to, you know, align individual pieces. That's really nice. The challenge, of course, for us modelers is not to mess it up. I would advise for this, I would advise UV resin, because that's not going to cloud the plastic at all if you get a little bit of errant material, and it's very clear. You can trim it afterwards. So I'm not sure what I did before the invention of UV resin. I think I just messed up clear parts a lot more. This is a very tight fit into this pack. Good God. No, I've got that wrong. Now it's there. There we go. That's phenomenal. I think I'll build this because I don't think it's going to be a particularly challenging, you know, it's not going to be a long build. And I think it'll go quite nicely with the Black Hawk. Let me know if you'd like to see that. But rather nice. I will put it back in the bag because I want to make sure I don't lose these little pieces, because that would make it much more difficult to build. Okay, let me just have a little look at comments. Scale Model Apprentice says, based on the OH-6A, which itself was developed into the MD500 series. M is a designator for special operations equipment. Okay. MH60, MC130, etc. H is, of course, type designator for helicopter. Thank you very much. Mr. Ed says, I heard somewhere the ICM paints are really Vallejo. Is that true? I don't believe so. I think they are AK, or developed by AK, around their 3rd gen technology. But they are actually, I believe, slightly different. They don't act in quite the same way as AK paints, but the pigments, the density and everything is very similar. Can you paint it before you fit the canopy? If you can, maybe that's why there are no masks. I mean, you can. But it's just an odd one, that. Mr. Ed also says, on a side note, had a missing part on my Handley Page Hampton, contacted ICM, and within a week they replaced the complete sprue. I mean, from the Ukraine to the Netherlands. How? The customer service is phenomenal. Yeah, I've always had... well, I mean, it's no secret. I'm a big fan of ICM. And considering... even if they weren't being invaded, fighting a war, their service and production and everything is top notch. Add on to the fact that they are, they have their own shelter. They have to regularly break in the day to go down into the air raid shelter. They had, that rocket strike last year that blew out all the windows. And yet they're still cracking on. I mean, it does make you really wonder, especially with the recent news about Hornby. It's like, what the hell have Hornby done? It's like they've just, frittered their money away. But anyway. Julian says, got to go all. Have a good night, everyone. Have a good night, Julian. Thanks for popping in. Brian says, yes, please, love to see you build it. You just want me to see me build another helicopter, don't you? God damn it. Right. Well, it'll also give me an excuse to finish off my Black Hawk as well. It's finished. I just need to put the rotors on, basically, and then finish the video. Right. We have time for another kit. And the next one on the list is the Sea Vampire. Oh my god, that made everything go absolutely nuts. Okay. I'll do it on the other screen. The Sea Vampire. So, somebody mentioned how border models are very dragon-esque. Well, this is, although it says Cyber Hobby, it is a dragon kit. So, as you can see there, dragon. So, Cyber Hobby, I think Cyber Modeler as well, are basically just outlets for dragon kits, as far as I understand it. So I got these into the shop this week and thought, oh, that's interesting. I've not seen that before. Let's have a little look. This box, I don't know what it was. It is still sealed, but these seals came off and the box was a bit. So I thought, well, I'll nab that. It's a good excuse, right? So this is from their Golden Wing series. So, in fact, let's have a little look at when this kit was made. So we want Dragon, Sea Vampire. No. Okay, let's have Sea Vampire. Let's do kits. We'll do static model kits. We'll do 1/72 scale. Excuse me. There we go. So it was a new tool in 2013. Okay. So not that old a kit. Let's have a little look inside. I don't know what it is with Chinese companies and just, making up companies to sell stuff. I just call it Dragon. It's a Dragon kit. Just, I don't know. Bizarre. I mean, if you didn't see the name, you can tell it's a Dragon kit straight away just by the layout and like the font and the way it's all done. Quality product of Dragon, It's just like, so why call it Cyber Hobby? I don't know. Anyway, we have a very 1990s style booklet, which feels like it's been printed on toilet paper. This is not that good. However, it's functional. It has a frame layout, which I greatly approve of. I love it when kits do things like this as well. Parts not for use. None. You have to use them all. What is the point? I know it's a standard thing, but it just seems so silly. It's a really awkward kind of the way this works as well. I hate these multi-fold instructions. You know, when we got rid of them, it was a good thing. And yeah, Dragon. A lot of the Japanese or Far East companies still hang on to this. Obviously, Dragon is Chinese. It's a bit weird, but so it looks pretty basic. Obviously, 1/72 scale. You're not going to see a huge amount, although Sea Venom does have a relatively, open cockpit. And wow, I mean, it's basically like so many steps in one piece. Because they do this thing here. You can see that. Right, B11 brackets B10. So what they mean is you've got to put both sides in. But they just assume you know that. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. But if you imagine this was your first kit, or you're a younger modeler, and don't actually, kind of really realise that that's the case, you could mess this up quite easily. And then step 2 is chuck everything else on, and then step 3 is chuck all the stuff on the bottom. It's they're not exactly the most thorough of instructions. And then you obviously have the painting and marking instructions there. Looks like 3 versions: 771, 712, and 726 Squadron. Sorry, 728 Squadron. So the instructions are everything bagged in one there, but there's only 2 frames, so separately bagged transparencies. That looks quite thick. And then very nice bagged decals. I do like, and I don't know why more companies don't do it, bagging decals. These are quite nice because you can reuse these bags, so there's less plastic waste, or recyclable plastic. It's like, why not? It's even got a dragon symbol on, so I don't know what the Cyber Hobby thing is. It's a bit like Trumpeter, Hobby Boss, and I Love Kit. It's all the same company, just call it one thing. They do look very nice, actually. They're very nicely in register, and they've got good colour and density there, so not bad. They don't look bad, actually. Right, let's get rid of that. Oop. Let's take a little look at that plastic. The comment they spread: "You asked Alex, we react. Just build it." Fair enough. I did ask. It's my own fault. Just build the goddamn kit. Okay, so this looks pretty nice. We've got really, really fine engraved panel detail here. In fact, so fine you can barely see it there. I'm having to, hopefully you can see it, but you can see I'm just turning the model there so you can actually see the light catching it. That's how fine these are. Some moulded detail in the wheel wells, you're not going to see them anyway. Nice one-piece wings, upper and lower. Getting the right level of dihedral there. Again, something I do approve of. That looks pretty good. These very odd air brakes that we had, which is like, in fact, there's an example of one of these. I believe it's a Sea Vampire in the Fleet Air Arm Museum at Yeovilton. Because I was walking around there with Gary when we went to the Navy Wings Day. I actually commented on this because it's got the flaps down. And it's just like you got your pylon coming out. And it's like, oh, we need an air brake here. It's like, yeah, but the pylon's there. It's like, I'll just bend it round it. Because that's exactly how they are. It's very Heath Robinson. But that looks really nice. That does look very nice. And then the everything else frame also looks pretty good. And we've got slide moulding. Would you believe that? Look at that. Those are very nice, these pieces here. It's a shame, actually, that more people didn't vote for the Revell Flitzer, which is a very similar kind of layout to this. So it does have pieces which attach, obviously, the booms, these pyloned booms, to the sort of wing fuselage structure here. The way that Dragon have approached it is with slide moulding. Obviously, the Revell kit, which dates from the 90s or very early 2000s, doesn't have slide moulding and has two halves, which you have to put together so that you can get a seam down the back. So that's pretty impressive that they've slide moulded all of these end pieces here. I like the way they did these pylons as well. It's just like, well, we're slide molding the rest, what else can we do? Just chuck these on. It doesn't really need that, and that's going to be flush with the wing anyway, so a bit odd. Oh, and they've slide molded this end as well. Look at that. Wow. That's impressive. Okay, I thought these were... That's really nice. I thought these were halves, but they're not. Look, that's a single piece. Oh, that's fantastic. So, obviously no seam at the top. That's really good. And really fine moulding here as well. For 2013 tooling, if you think, go back and look at some of the 2012 Airfix toolings when they started redoing all of the starter kits and stuff, and they're really nice, but they're not this. I'm pretty impressed. I wasn't expecting this. That's really good. That's a nice look at. Now I will build this. I will do a build review of this because, well, one, it's not going to take much, right? And also, two, I took a whole bunch of photos of this aircraft at Fleet Air Arm Museum. And three, it's got some really nice schemes. I think the Fleet Air Arm did come up with some really nice, Navy aircraft were really quite good. I think this is what, mid-50s? Sea Vampire? Yeah, 54, 56, 53. Wow. Yeah, and they do look nice. The schemes, rather than the aircraft's a bit weird, but that is surprisingly good. I'm quite taken aback by some of the pieces of that, particularly the slide moulding. I mean, again, this is not an expensive kit. So to have slide moulding this, I think this is £20. It's around that. So again, to have slide moulding to solve some of these problems, so you don't have seams in any of these pieces, you know, along the longitudinal piece is pretty good. And you know, the hinge pieces on the undercarriage are pretty good, and I like the way that they've given you separate ones if you want to do it gear up, although of course there is no pilot, so which is a common weird thing. I take it that is not an ejector seat either. Let's just put the macro on just to show you how fine those panel lines are. Look at that, those are sharp. Those are very nice. Really good. Just want to have a little look at that cockpit tub as well. I can't quite get it. But you see, you do have, although it's blurry because this piece, if I can get my... this is the level of the camera, and this actually cuts down quite deeply into the body here. So problem with macro lenses is the focal depth is really narrow. So if I move my scalpel even a couple of millimeters down, it goes out. But even the blurry bit, you can see it has like molded detail on the instrument panel. So pretty good for the scale. That's the rudders on the vertical stabilizers, and those are those pitot tubes. Look at that, that's really nice. That's very nice. See how small some of these pieces are by the little tabs to make sure that everything gets filled with plastic. So unexpectedly very nice. I mean, the gear is simplified, but you can't really see the Vampire gear because even when it's down, the doors block it, and then the whole aircraft sits over them, so you can't really see it at all. I've got paint all over me. Sorry. It's funny how you only notice when you see it, like as though your hands are somebody else's on screen. I'm really impressed with that. I think that is a really nice little kit, and I think that is something that you could do as your first or second kit, I think, with no problem, and have a very nice result, provided it goes together well. Now, the kits I was talking about that don't fit at all with Dragon were made in the 90s, 80s and 90s, before they had CAD. This has obviously been made with CAD and, you know, CNC and slide molding and God knows what else. So I'm hoping the experience of this is more akin to what we would expect with modern kits. I mean, at least the instructions for this, unlike Border, are straightforward because there are so few pieces. There's not really many areas that you can get this wrong. Although, as I said, the clarity with just having these, oh, you do this, oh, and do it again. You know, we're just going to put that in brackets. It's like, what does that mean? I think the main negative, oh, sorry about that. I think the main negative, come on, of this kit is going to be the transparency, because I can already see, look how thick the plastic is on that. I don't really want to take it out of this, but that is pretty thick old plastic. It's actually quite thin for the front piece, but that rear piece is chunky. That is chunky plastic. That is well over 1 millimeter thick at the base there. So it's very clear, but there is obvious optical distortion even through this packet. So I will leave that to when I actually build it so you can see that piece. I think the main advantage is it doesn't really need, I mean, it's only the extreme frame, I think, that needs doing on that, but yeah, that is going to be the main disadvantage, I think. Right, let me bring you back to webcam. You can giggle, but those little kits are probably more buildable than some starter sets I struggled with. Do you mean the Airfix ones, Casey? Because I'm not knocking them at all. I think what Airfix did with revising, well, firstly revising their whole range, and especially with the starter kits, was I think it was a signature standout moment actually in current modelling history. I think they really changed, you know, they put a line in the sand that a lot of other companies are kind of catching up with still. Revell have just released a Eurofighter starter set, which I'm going to review. I'm getting some in the shop. It's 1144 scale, but it is a Eurofighter, so it will, you know, it'll be close to the size of a 109 or 190. £10, just £10, including glue, brush, and paints. That's pretty good, and I think that has been set by the standard of Airfix, saying, look, we need affordable entry points into the hobby that are easy to build. Now, what I'm going to do when I review the Revell one is actually look, is this actually a suitable kit for starters, because that we don't know. But Airfix really set that standard, and having specific kits, you know, lower part count, easy to put together for starters or people coming back into the hobby was really good. I recommend Airfix starter kits as a starting point for everybody. Anybody that comes into the shop, it's such a common thing. Oh, I used to do this as a kid. I'm thinking of getting back into it. Where should I start? And I always say, an Airfix starter kit. They do all sorts of different subjects, so you can find something that suits your interest, and they go together really well. It's just a pleasant first entry. It's a low price point, and it's something, the other thing that I think people often forget is it's a benchmark. So after a year of modelling, after 2 years of modelling, you can buy the same exact kit, make it again, and see how much you've changed. Yeah, which I think is really valuable. I think because we are doing stuff all the time, you don't see your own improvement. You know, and actually having a physical like memory of it and being able to do exactly the same thing for just over a tenner is a good thing, I think. But okay, Scale Model Apprentice says, I'm currently building a Dragon Abrams, not for the faint of heart. Now, is that 172nd scale or 135th? Because they do, Dragon are a funny company. They do 72nd scale kits, they do 35th scale kits, and they cover some really interesting subjects, but they're really like scattergun approach, you know. I mean, like the Sea Vampire. What an odd subject for a Chinese kit, you know. Not like a, I mean, it's not a super popular aircraft. And yet they've done slide molding on it, and stuff. It's just how weird, you know. Anyway, that's just coming up to 10 o'clock, so I don't appear quite as red this time. I don't know what's been happening with the camera. And if you have had low volume, I apologise. I've changed nothing at my side. I can see I've got a little VU meter on my microphone. It's consistently been at, well, I don't know, just below the yellow bit. So it goes, you know, you have the green bit and the yellow and red. So I know my volume going into the system is good, so I'm sorry if you couldn't hear me that well. I don't know what that is, whether it's a YouTube thing. They have messed about with several settings of late. Stable volume was a real one that a lot of people were complaining in the past. Not a lot of people. The odd person said, "Oh, your background music is really intrusive. It's horrible. Please cut it out." And I'm just like, "No, I'm not cutting out my background music. This is how I make my videos. It's not intrusive at all." On my recording, it's like set to about 12% volume. It's really gentle. And then I found out it's because stable volume on YouTube automatically boosts low sounds so that you have, as the name implies, a stable volume level all the time, which of course is fine if you've got something which you want to boost the sound all the time. But if you've got pauses, like in speaking, and then more speaking, stable volume, because it hears nothing, it's like ramping up the background. And of course with background music, it meant it pushed it up to the level I was talking at. And it's like, yeah, that's not how my video was intended at all. So please turn it off. And the thing is, YouTube put it as a default. So you actually have to actively go in and switch it off. I've switched it off now for everything I watch. It's a global setting. So if you go to the three little dots on any video, settings, it'll come at the top, stable volume. I actually put it on the Tuesday talk yesterday because it's really messes with people. I think YouTube just introduced these things without telling anybody, or they might mention it on like a, one little creator thing. Oh, we've introduced stable volume. This is really useful for these people. And it's like, without really explaining the full impact. And why put it on by default, Anyway, rant over. Okay, it's 1/35th scale. Tooled in 2006, same year as me. It was kind of a one-off. Right. I mean, Dragon have returned and done like other 1/35th scale subjects. As I say, they do some really interesting stuff. They do the Saladin. So whenever I've got them in, they've sold straight away because the Saladin it's a great-looking armoured car. I would say, we look forward to when Airfix tools it from the Saracen base, but I don't see that happening, unfortunately now. I really hope I'm wrong, but yeah, let's not get into that. Anyway, we've just come up to 10 o'clock, so I'm saved by the bell, as it were, and time for me to eat. I've wholly switched over to Spanish eating times now. So thank you so much for joining me this Wednesday. I hope those kits were interesting. I will be building definitely the vampire and the little bird. I will build the Lukes as well. I don't know whether I'll do a video on that. I might just do that as a me thing. What's the first kit? Oh, the Constellation. In fact, I'm going to be building all of these kits. The Constellation I'm going to be building as well for something else which will appear later on in the year. So yeah, it's a full round for me. So I was really happy with people's choices this time. I'm going to try and make sure there are more new kits on the list, and get those out a little bit earlier. I've tended to hold off because I want for some reason ICM kits always seem to arrive on a Tuesday, occasionally a Wednesday. I like to try and include them. Like I say, the Tahi arrived today, but I've decided to do a separate proper unboxing video on that for you guys. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to put out the list probably a couple of weeks before, maybe a week before, to give everybody a chance to get their votes in. And also it means I can put more new subjects in. So I'm going to, obviously the 4 or however many that I cover on the actual stream will get replaced, and I'm also going to replace the lowest 4 or whatever as well, so we get a good churn of kits and things don't just sit on the list for a long time. So anyway, thanks everybody. I will be on John Alex's stream, Scale Model Inc. Live on Friday. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care. Thanks for watching. Cheers guys.